Welcome to Free Range Sailing.
Join us as we sail around Australia, visiting its wild places in our 30-foot, 50-year-old sailing boat, Marul.
Living off the land and sea while sailing a yacht that costs less than a new car,
We show that it's possible to have big adventures with a seaworthy boat on a very modest budget.
wow, we're going fast. So that wind's very variable, hey?
Yeah, so the wind's just dying, then filling, and then veering and backing.
Yeah, so you have to hand steer. We try putting the autopilot on, no deal.
Yeah, it's okay though. Like when the wind does come, it comes really well.
Here it comes.
Here it comes. But even in the lightest winds, we're still doing like 5 3/4 knots, and now we're going up to 6.5. All right, so we're ripping along here under our asymmetric spinnaker, Jenica, whatever you like. It's got a million names, doesn't it? But we're doing between 6 and 7 knots, really variable winds. A little bit embarrassingly, we've been flying this this Assy by the clue instead of by the tack. You know, I've got the tack line on the wrong corner. One of our viewers actually wrote in and said, "Oh, you know, I think the manufacturer's label is supposed to be above the tack, and you've got it on the clue." This was the shot where viewer Ryan spotted our error. We had stowed the sail, and somehow the tack and clue lines had gotten swapped around. When we flew it again, we never checked the sail, just hoisting it as usual. Routine is good on a boat, but complacency can creep in when it's least expected. So there's been some people saying, why don't you do like, you know, all these sailing, instructional things on actual sailing itself? And that's why. So Ryan, thanks very much. And we'll just forget about this incident from here on out. We would be lucky to have like 10, 12 knots of breeze to get this 7 knots. The sail's so much fun.
We're also reaching.
Oh, we're reaching beautifully. The wind is exactly 90 degrees off the beam. So I keep having to sail a bit of an S course, you know, come up until, you know, the luff just starts to fold and a little bit of a bubble comes along. That's what I can't take my eyes off the sail though, like this. Because if I come too far up, you know, it inverts and then we have that big crack, and it'd be it's pretty of a sad day if I was chatting to the camera and then we just blew the sail apart. But it's really cool, like as the wind gusts, you can just steer off a bit and detunes the sail really nicely, and we just come back down to 6.5 knots. We're up to 8 for a second there.
It's good that steering off is out to sea. Nobody towards the shore. Fraser Island in the wintertime. Sensational sailing.
Don't hurry past Fraser.
Yeah.
It's like a little sailing paradise.
It's so good. It's got the perfect shelter.
I reckon you could definitely spend a winter here.
Yeah.
Like all winter you could spend on Fraser, because you've got the sandy straits to retreat to. You've got a good town with great services right there.
Yeah.
And like in the southeasterly wind, you can just roar up and down Fraser. There's no waves. It's all flat. You can come right in close to shore, you know, like a couple of 100 metres. And there's whales to look at.
Whales to look at. There's whale song every night when you go to bed in the boat if you've got a glass boat. It's beautiful.
It is really, really great.
And there's fresh water. There's fresh water on the island. Like in most places you can go and have a swim.
The only thing that we haven't got is caught a big Spanish mackerel while we've been sailing.
Yeah. Yep.
But you know, like a day's sail north is Lady Musgrave and Lady Elliot. You could blast up there, come back,
catch your fish, fill your fridge.
Northerlies were predicted, or just even easterlies.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed coming to Fraser. It was better than I expected. I didn't know what to expect, but it was better than that.
Me too. I loved it. Whoa!
This solar panel needs to be higher.
There we go.
We'll stop whacking it.
You were frantically making coffee this morning. What's going on?
We're going out on a boat.
Whose boat?
So we've made a friend here in Harvey Bay of one of our viewers. His name's Josh, and he drives a whale watching boat. And you might think, well, you've already got a boat and you've been watching whales, but we just thought it'd be nice to go out with a professional and just get his take on whale behaviour and maybe even see them up a little bit closer. We think that, excuse me while I light this stove, we were theorising that Marul being black and white, the size and shape that she is, maybe whales think that we're a little killer whale. Might be a bit absurd, but they certainly, we haven't really had whales come up and have a look at our boat, have they, Pascal?
No, they're not really interested in our boat.
So we're feeling a little bit miffed. But, yeah, we'll go out and we'll see if, I'm just trying not to burn down the boat here. We'll go out and we can see if we can see some like really close range. We have been pretty close and we've had a good time with them. But we'll go and see what Josh has to say. When we're travelling around on our yacht, a really big part of it is getting to meet the people that are a part of our audience. So we've got Josh here.
Hey guys.
And you've been with us since?
About 200 subscribers or so.
That's a long time ago. So what are we doing? We're on your boat at the moment?
Yep, we're on our whale watching.
Whale watching.
That's it.
So we're on Quick Cat 2. Do you want to do a shameless plug? What's the name of your company, mate?
Harvey Bay Whale Watch.
Yep.
We're in Harvey Bay, obviously. Travelling alongside Fraser Island at the moment. Out to see our humpback whales.
How long's it been in industry? Like, how long have people been coming to Harvey? Well, I know people coming for fishing and they like inadvertently saw whales, but like as a structured sort of thing like this.
Yeah, so 1987 it started, and yeah, like you said, it was a fishing company, and they saw whales one day. Everyone put the rods down, picked up the cameras, so they turned it into whale watching instead of fishing.
Was that on this boat, or was it on a smaller boat?
No, it was like an old converted trawler sort of thing. So it took a long time to get out there. That's what they started with. It took them 6 hours to get out to the whales and watch them for a bit, but now it only takes us about an hour.
What are we doing? We're doing about 16 knots.
Yep. Yeah, we're pushing the current at the moment, but yeah, we generally cruise between 16 and 20 knots.
Oh, okay. So what do we got in there? We got Cummins Marine.
Yep, sure do. 8.3 litre Cummins, 480 horsepower each.
That's a little bit more than what Marul's pushing. So what's the scoop? So the whales, they're not here all year round, are they? They don't live in Harvey Bay.
No, they don't. We do call them our whales though. They are born up in Queensland, but yeah, they're only here from, say, like mid-July through to October. That's our season.
Is it just the mums and babies you see up here?
No, so we get full range. We start with the yearlings and the sub-adults, and then yeah, it turns into the mums and calves, which is what we got now. And then the big bulls come through chasing the lonely females.
Lonely?
Yeah. Well, sometimes not lonely. Sometimes we get what we call chase pods. So it'll be the biggest I've ever seen is 13 whales in the chase pod. So one female, 12 males all duking it out, battling, and yeah, it's pretty cool. All 13 whales packed into like a basketball court, all fighting and that sort of thing. Yeah, a lot of turbulent water, a lot of white water and that sort of thing.
That sounds like going to the pub in Gladstone when I was working there in the oil and gas industry. So if you're interested in watching whales and you don't have your own boat, in behind Fraser, Harvey Bay at around, what, mid-August, late August?
Yeah, that's the best time. But we very rarely miss too. With like myself, my brother and my father were all pilots, so when the whales start to thin out, we'll chuck the plane up and go have a look, and yeah, we'll spot them from there, tell the boat where they are.
What's going on, Pasky? We keep running into pilots.
surface about our 9 o'clock position. Between our 9 and 8, there it is. There's Mum. The calf swims underneath the mother there and scoops up the milk in its mouth with a bunch of seawater. And then expresses the seawater out through its baleen plates and licks the milk off the roof of its mouth. Although this calf may look a little bit Gumby or uncoordinated doing its tricks here, sometimes Mum will sit underneath and say, no, that's not how it's done. This is how it's done, and she'll launch as well. So just give them a bit of time and see what they get up to. We've seen a nice bright white underside of the whale here. So these are what we call the southern hemisphere humpback whales. You might be thinking, duh, we're in the southern hemisphere. But there is actually a bit of a difference between the northern and the southern hemisphere humpback whales. That is that the northern hemisphere humpback whales are nearly all black, including their stomachs there, where we get the nice white bright underside. It makes for good viewing through the water there. These guys are coming in straight towards us. They are very curious animals, guys, so when they come in, get the arms waving and the whistles going. Just try and avoid any short, sharp sounds, like tapping on the deck. They don't really like those short, sharp sounds, but definitely whistling and waving.
We had a really amazing day yesterday seeing the whales with Josh, and we had a little bit of a yarn with him up there in the wheelhouse, and he said that this is a cool little place. We've just gone, we sailed last night, well actually more, we sailed yesterday at sunset down 8 nautical miles down into the sandy straits, and he told us about this little spot here. There's a few wrecks and a few creeks, so we're going to go check them out, and we might put the crab pot down as well a bit later today. You can really see the tide here ripping through down the sandy straits. Rules hanging back on the anchor pretty. There's a bit of current. Is this safe though?
I got up here on it.
These buildings are now abandoned, but they once supported a community of people active in the logging industry that was run on Fraser Island for 130 years.
Logging ceased on Fraser Island in 1991 and the island was World Heritage listed in 1992, so visitors will always hear the singing of birds when they come to visit.
We decided to move on. We've gotten a bit of an unexpected northerly, hey? We weren't expecting it to be this strong.
We weren't expecting it. There's a northerly happening on the outside, but it's also happening on the inside. Now, so
yeah.
To hell with fishing, we're going sailing.
Yeah. It's much nicer sailing down through the sandy straits than motoring, which is what we had to do last time, so.
Indeed.
Make the most of it.
Yeah, what's more fun, sailing or fishing?
Depends if you're catching fish. I think catching's more fun.
Catching is more fun. So I closed down the head sail just so we've only got one sail to have to jibe. Comes the jibe. So we jibed then, I put away the head sail just so I could have one sail to deal with, but also when we came out of it, we're going like directly downwind so that the forward sail wouldn't have filled anyway. And I didn't really want to be going top speed because that channel marker where it is just totally not the right spot in the chart. And last time we came down here, we actually almost went aground by trying to go with the channel marker to our port side, so I didn't want to try that again. The old wing on wing. This has been the most casual sailing as we've come down here. It's only a very light breeze, but because of the current we're still doing 6.5 knots. We just can't help doing 6 knots every week. You know, a few people from the States, they asked us you know, which side is green on, which side is red on. We're a little bit different from the States here. We're on the IALA A system. And that, the old saying, red right returning, that you might have heard in the States. Here in Australia it's red right returning to sea, not returning to port. So it's all opposite. So as far as I know, I think it's the States, a couple of places around there, around the US, and France, I think is IALA B as well.
They just do that to be different from the Brits.
Yeah, possibly.
What's happening now?
7.24 knots.
Another sail change. We've got the noisy autopilot on.
It's not that noisy over the rush of water.
We basically sailed the sandy straits. Well, actually we did some of it yesterday, didn't we?
What did we use the motor for? We used the motor just to get out of
Kingfisher, to get out of that wind shadow.
Yeah, basically 40 miles under sail. So,
depth of 3.
Oh no, we did have to motor when we were coming out of Platypus Bay because we got becalmed, but a northerly change was coming. Been good times.
Thanks for sailing with us this week. If you enjoyed the ride, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Also, when subscribing, make sure you hit the bell button on our channel page so you stay notified on all our upcoming releases. This is your very last chance to grab a free range sailing t-shirt in time for Christmas and before our campaign closes in a couple of days. If you'd like to show your support with your very own free range sailing t-shirt, please click the button on screen now or visit the description of this video for more information.